Mascot horror has really exploded onto the scene with so many games, and with that we get the good, the bad, and the ban.
No! God, please, no! No!
I recently decided to check out Muzi on Steam, and let me tell you, it's a big ol' nothing burger of a game.
Just a bun. Look, there's no meat in here.
While it's not the worst Mascot horror game I've played, it certainly isn't good. It's like they were trying to go for a FNAF meets Ban meets Poppy Playtime, but leaves out any story or engaging gameplay. But with all that said, let's jump into it. Let's go ahead and begin with the game's overall narrative and gameplay recap kind of a thing here. Muzi takes place in an abandoned factory that also has a kindergarten for the employees' kids. We are playing as a detective, hired to investigate the strange ongoings inside the semi-abandoned factory. We start off by exploring around in a giant playroom, collecting colored keys to open up the next minigame, and the final key gives us access to a little pea shooter and a key fob. Using the key fob, we enter a maintenance hall and ride down an elevator. After turning on some lights, we grab another key fob and a wrench, and enter what looks like to be an observation room where an endoskeleton is just kinda hanging there. We have to break the large glass with a wrench to get the pattern for the levers, and we move into a large mechanical-like room, I guess. I don't know, there's just like metal everywhere. Here we grab a battery to go up on some scaffolding to grab yet another key fob. We flip a switch in a small control room and head to the door at the far end, only to be greeted by giant combat boots busting down the door, revealing a giant Muzi. We are then chased by little Muzis flipping switches in the large hallway to open the doors. We are then trapped in a room with red lights where we're suddenly surrounded by giant Muzis before the lights come back on and one of the gates open. After walking down some more empty hallways, we enter a room where we see a Muzi crawling away in a safe. The safe code is right there next to us, and we get a key card to flip a switch. There is also a schematic for a Muzi prototype that seems to be some sort of robot or animatronic, I guess. We exit the room to continue down the hall to run into Muzi and their Doc Martens. Once again, we run down the hall, flip a switch to slow Muzi down, and then close another door in their face. We then walk down some ramps, enter the maintenance elevator, and that's the end of, you guessed it, Chapter 1. Right off the bat, the main menu is really confusing, with the new game being on the far right, where usually the exit game button is. Also, the game starts us with reading a letter, but the camera is bobbing so much it was actually making me sick trying to read it since the camera wasn't still. There was a lot to read, but overall it was just, well, nothing. There was so much on this page, but it's really only like 2 important plot points, and the rest is just fluff that doesn't really matter. Basically, all you need to know is that you're a detective exploring an abandoned facility because some people saw creatures roaming around inside, despite the fact all the windows are like 20 feet above the ground and the rest of the game takes place underground where all the monsters are. But I guess the Karens had some really good binoculars to be spying next door. For being the first chapter, the first part of the game that's supposed to pull you in, there is absolutely nothing interesting going on with this game. Starting off with the player character, there is zero motivation. We are simply a detective for hire. We were hired to explore an abandoned factory, that's all. We are simply doing a job for money. We aren't there to find any missing persons. We aren't a whistleblower journalist trying to expose an evil corporation. We're just there to investigate with no other objective. Now, with a game like My Friendly Neighborhood, we were there to do a job. However, our character had a name, a backstory, a voice, a personality. In Muzi, we're just a silent protagonist doing a job. Like, tell me the stakes. If we don't do this job, will we be killed? Are we actually there to cover up the shady things that happened at this factory? Just going there to look around is really boring. The overall story, it's just nothing. It's a random factory with an on-site kindergarten. We don't even know what the factory made or did, what their purpose was. Did they make toys? Were they a facility that specializes in robotics or animatronics? All we know is this building is empty and people nearby saw creatures roaming around. It would be nice to have some background here, but there just isn't anything other than they made killer mascot robots? There isn't enough here to intrigue me, to pull me into the story and motivate me to keep going. I'm just more confused and frustrated. What was also frustrating is that there are a few documents I came across in the game that seem to have some lore, but I couldn't pick them up or take a closer look at them. I had to hold still and read them while they were like on the ground. If I'm a detective, why can't I pick these up and examine them closer in an inventory menu? Is this not evidence? Why give me lore I have to strain my eyes to read? The little bit of story elements I got were a pain in the ass to read aside from the poem inside the safe. Don't give me documents if I can't collect them. The gameplay itself was very lackluster. There were no puzzles really, just grab the thing to turn on the thing to flip on the switch or read a pattern, here's the answer. What? Even the safe had all its answers right there next to it. There were like 4 or 5 codes, so you just enter them until you get the right one. I used the pellet gun like once or twice and that was it. I don't even know why we get another one because we don't use it the rest of the game. The chase sequences were very Poppy inspired, but were very boring. I didn't feel that adrenaline rush, feeling that panic to find the right direction or the switch to open the door. Just run down the giant hallway and flip the switch. There was no tension, no suspense, just a watered down version of the Huggy Wuggy chase. The environment felt so devoid of what I assume was once a bustling workplace. I expect to see trash, destroyed objects, but it all looks brand new, like they had just opened the place. But we know they didn't because right at the start, we see a sign that they were at least in operation for 82 weeks at minimum, which is about shy 2 years. The hallways were empty, even the rooms where I assume they were conducting their tests and experiments were just giant open spaces with a few random objects that didn't make sense to what they might have been doing. Hell, even the endo-animatronic skeleton that was just hanging there, it was just a decoration. It never even came into play. There was nothing about it except, ooh, it's spooky. There was no environmental storytelling or anything that told me what was happening here and why this place might have been abandoned so suddenly, leaving nothing to even make a theory on, nothing to speculate. There was no breadcrumbs to even try to figure out what direction this game is going for. Overall, this game just feels like someone trying to hop on the Mascot horror train, not because they have a unique or inspired idea, but to hopefully go viral like Ban Ban did. However, Ban Ban didn't go viral for anything positive, as it was heavily mocked and criticized. I'm not against anyone trying to get that bag, but at least try to put effort into your game. Mascot horror has a lot of potential as a genre of cute but scary. For every gem we get, there are many cut and paste ones that just feel like they're trying to ride the popularity of other games. It's like those bargain bin DVDs where the smaller studios make low quality versions of popular Disney or Pixar films. Like Muzi here literally made a snake look just like Huggy, so much that they had to go back and change the entire model. You can't tell me that wasn't on purpose to get attention. It got people talking about it on Twitter for like a few days. That's how I even heard about this game. My question to indie devs who want to make Mascot horror games: do you want to make something unique and memorable, stand out like how My Friendly Neighborhood and Bendy did? Or do you want to be known as the game that's just another Poppy or Ban Ban clone? Don't be afraid to make it different. Take risks, make it scary, make it funny, make it satirical. Yes, even some of the most popular Mascot horror games fall into the same repetitive storytelling and tropes. That's why it's called a genre. And I'm not gonna pretend that Poppy is super unique and perfect. It has plenty of flaws. But with the most recent chapter, it shows that they're exploring how dark and scary you can go while still being accessible to a larger audience. To be honest, I think Muzi would probably do better on something like Roblox, and I don't see myself interested in playing future chapters. The game was empty and devoid of really anything interesting. If the developer chooses to keep making chapters, I hope they push themselves, and they try to make something that sets it apart from the rest before it falls into the "this is a clone of this game" genre. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Did you play the demo or the full game? What did you think? If you really want me to play the follow-up chapters, let me know, and I'll see you all in the next video.